Hello, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know who I am, my name is Shook. I make NBA DFS content, NFL, sports books, anything you can think of, I make content for. All these videos that get posted to this Reddit, I will have it linked down below. I make updates with all the news that comes out throughout the day. We got another big slate, so I'm going to make a ton of updates, what that changes for the slate, etc., etc. So that'll be linked down below. And then if you ever need to get a hold of me privately, you can get a hold of me on Twitter right here. I'll recap my lineups in the next video. Guys, I haven't tilted in a while, but can I tilt tonight? Can I tilt tonight? Let me show you what happened. Just let me show you. Get ready. If you want a free play for tomorrow, there's a free play. You can play that. I took Drew Smith unders. Error. This line should never exist. Error. Bam Adebayo gets injured. Drew Smith immediately comes in, gets an extra free 6 minutes. I played FanDuel today. You want to know who I slammed on FanDuel? Jimmy Butler. I played 3 lineups. He was in 2 of them. Apparently it's an illness, but he got hurt with it. I don't know what's going on, man. I played, what else? Let's show you guys what else I did. I played Darius Garland props. No fourth quarter minutes at all. What else did I do? I think that's it for running back. Giannis triple-double. He wasn't going to cover that regardless. But yeah, Jimmy Butler in my FanDuel lineups. Betting Drew Smith and everyone gets injured on the Miami Heat. Garland blowout. I also slammed Garland in DFS. He was my flag plan today. I put him in every single lineup I made today across FanDuel, across Draftkings. Of course, I had Giannis. I don't know, man. I want to scream. All right, so let's go over the slate. I'll show you guys my lineups in the next video. So I just want to move on. I want to talk about the slate. So let's get into it. Jimmy Butler. We shall see if he is out. If he is out, Jamie Jackson Jr. is going to stand out as one of the best value plays on the slate, assuming he starts. Then we got to consider Bam Adebayo, Tyler Herro. Tyler Herro would look amazing. Now, this isn't a good matchup. I wouldn't say Tyler Herro would be a must, or Bam Adebayo. They wouldn't be must. But Jamie Jackson would be a phenomenal value. Duncan will get a bump at 4K. What else do you have? Haywood Highsmith would even be in play at 3.6K. Little bit trickier with like Jovic back, etc., etc. But like Jamie would look great. Terry Rozier would look great. Tyler Herro would look great. Bam Adebayo would be firmly in play at 8.2. Just a really bad matchup going up against Orlando. Terry Rozier might have to play a bit more at 4.7, although he is priced right. And yeah, like Duncan will get a bump. All these guys will get a bump. I think that my favorite plays would be Tyler Herro and Jamie. I think Jamie, assuming he starts, would look fantastic. And then if Butler is in, I'm just going to pass on this team. I'm not playing anyone. Not playing anyone on this team going up against Orlando, especially with them getting healthier. Moving on to Orlando, we have Jalen Suggs probable. Honestly, guys, this game, if everyone's healthy, I'm not loving too much. Silva played massive minutes, but you can't pay me to play Silva on this big of a slate. I'm not going to play Anthony Black. I will say Wendell Carter Jr. is probably my favorite play on Orlando. If we give him like 30 minutes at this price point at 4.8K, that is a bit too cheap. So I think Wendell Carter Jr. is definitely a decent point per dollar value. Go get 5.9K, a really bad matchup going up against Bam Adebayo, assuming he plays. He came back into the game already. Good rebounding matchup. Miami gives up the most rebounds to opposing centers, but as far as scoring goes, really tough for Goga. I think he's fine. I think at 5.9, he'll probably be unowned tomorrow. If you want to like go there in large field GPPs, it's okay. Moving on to Memphis, we have John Morant doubtful. We have Marcus Smart questionable. Solely depends on Marcus Smart. If we get both Marcus Smart and Ja out, then we know what to do. Scoot Henderson becomes a piss missile nuke. Desmond Bane looks phenomenal. Jaren Jackson Jr. looks phenomenal. Zach Edey, I assume, starts again. Good spot for him. Playable value. What else do you have? Santi Aldama would be a good play off the bench. You could even consider like a Wells, a Laravia, even a Kennard. But the main standouts would be like Scottie Pippen, Jaren Jackson Jr., Desmond Bane. And then if we get Marcus Smart in, and there's no limit, I love Marcus Smart. You could still, Scoot would still look good. Jaren Jackson Jr. would look incredible. Desmond Bane looks incredible. Still think you can consider like Aldama, etc., etc. So you're definitely going to want pieces of Memphis tomorrow for sure with no John Morant. And then potentially some on the Atlanta side, but potentially no Trae Young. So we'll have to see what to do with the starting lineup. We do have Vic Krejci back as well, so he could be a potential value. There's so much news to keep an eye on. Okongwu is out. Capella didn't get a minutes bump because Larry Nance was playing incredibly well. Now, I think Capella's a really good GPP play tomorrow, solely because I don't think anyone's going to play him, because they saw Larry Nance get extended because Larry Nance couldn't miss. That is not in the range of outcomes every single time. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. I would say more often than not, Clint Capella's probably going to play more than Larry Nance. So I think Capella's really intriguing tomorrow. I think Nance is a pretty good value too. I probably wouldn't play him with Capella, but I would expect around 20 minutes regardless. Good point per minute guy, 4.3K. So I'm definitely liking Nance for value. I think Capella is really sneaky tomorrow. Then you have Trae Young's in. You can play Trae. I think Jalen Johnson's a really good play. Good spot for him. She'll play big minutes. 8.8K still too cheap for him. Not going to play Dyson. And then Bogey would be a fine value if everyone's in. Now, if we get Trae out, then yeah, like Vic Krejci, we'll have to see what to do with the starting lineup. But like potentially like a Vic Krejci, they could always start like a Bogdan Bogdanovic in the starting lineup, start like Dyson at the point. If that's the case, like regardless if Bogey comes off the bench or starts, I love him if Trae Young's out. Jalen Johnson gets a big bump. Dyson Daniels would be playable. I'd like DeAndre Hunter quite a bit at 5.5K. The bigs don't really change for me. Rishisher would be a fair value. And then, yeah, just keep an eye on who they start. We could have like some mid-price value here, but like Bogey, I would love. DeAndre Hunter, I would really like. And Jalen Johnson, and then Dyson would be playable. Moving on to Utah, so keep an eye on the Keontae George news. If he's out, we could potentially, is Collier still playing with them? Recall Collier from the G League. Okay, so them recalling him on the 13th, so it looks like he is with the team. If we get like Collier starting at the point with Keontae George out, would really like Collier at the flat man, but they could just start like both the guards, like Jordan Clarkson, Colin Sexton, Walker Kessler, Markin, and Collins. But if George is out, it's going to be more minutes for like Clarkson, Sexton. Both would be great point per dollar plays at their price point. They would be way too cheap. I'm going to keep saying it. Walker Kessler, just playing huge minutes right now. Fine spot going up against Brooklyn. I like him quite a bit once again in GPPs. Good shot blocker. Lauri Markkanen's too cheap at 6.7K. I really like him. Just too cheap, man. And John Collins is fine. And if Key's in, I still think you can consider like Clarkson, Sexton. I think I'd rather play like a Devin Vassell at a similar price point, but still completely fine. And then still like Marketing and still like Kessler and GPPs. Moving on to Brooklyn, so hopefully Claxton doesn't get ejected because he was in both my lineups last slate. I got the Jimmy Butler injuries, Claxton ejection. It's been a rough 2 days, man. But no Cam Thomas, no Zaire, no Watford. I believe Watford. It was Clowney that played a ton after the ejection. So, with that being said, yeah, great spot here for Cam Johnson. Utah gives up a ton of three-point shooting, catch and shoot, etc., etc. I played Cam Johnson last late in my Claxton lineup, and I stone bubbled. Yeah, I really like Cam Johnson. It's a just great spot. Going to do everything for this team. I think Ben Simmons is fine at 5.7K, especially if we're going to continue to get around 30 minutes, although we probably did get a little bit help with the Claxton ejection. I like Claxton. It's not as good of a spot as people might think, but good point per minute guy. He's 5.6K. He is too cheap. If you give him 30 minutes, he's going to project really well at this price point. Utah is actually pretty tough at defending points in the paint with Walker Kessler, so it's not like an amazing matchup, but just how decent point per minute he is at that price point would still like. And then, yeah, assuming Claxton doesn't get ejected, like I said, I'm not going to play these values. Mainly just really like Cam Johnson. I like Ben Simmons. I like Clax. If you want to consider like Shake Milton, etc., and large field GPPs, you could. I'm just not going to go there. Moving on to Boston. Good spot here going up against Chicago. It's just, can Chicago keep this game competitive? If you think the game blows out, keep an eye on the Sam Hauser news. If you think the game blows out, I think there's more of a chance with Pritchard getting a little bit of the garbage time. He won't get a ton of the junk garbage time, but he'll get most of the fourth. He'll play the fourth regardless if it's competitive or not, but could play more in a blowout. I think he's intriguing in like Boston blowout lineups. And then, yeah, I think Tatum's a really good spend up. Like the spot going up against Chicago. Looking at the spend ups on the slate, I mean, decent amount of goods. I love Cat tomorrow. I think Cade's good. You have Giannis, of course, going up against Washington. Decent amount of good spend-ups. I think Tatum's good. Jaylen Brown, you guys know I always hate playing Jaylen. When this team's healthy, it's just so hard to get him right. But still have some interest. I like Porzingis. Was full go, played 36 minutes in his first game back. I believe he missed a game in between there. 15. Okay, I guess he didn't. But if we're going to give him his full allotment of minutes, he is too cheap at 7.4. Derek White's fine. Great spot for him. And then we talked about Pritchard. Just indifferent on Drew Holiday. I think a little bit too cheap, but I'd rather play, like I said, potentially there's Utah guards, Devin Vassell. Moving on to Chicago, tough matchup here for them. Keep an eye on Giddey. If he's out, you should get a starting lineup of Vooch, Levine, Kobe White, Adusumu, and Patrick Williams. Not going to go to Patrick Williams. Would be bumps for like Kobe White, Adusumu, Zach Levine, Vooch. The main guys, I don't think anyone would be a priority for me in a tough matchup going up against Boston, but I think like Kobe White would be a good point per dollar play. I would like Zach Levine at 7.3, would just be too cheap. And then some interest in Vooch. And then if Giddey's in, I mean, mainly just interest in like Zach Levine, I guess Kobe White. But nothing amazing regardless of news here, but still would be some fine plays. Joel Embiid got rolled out for tomorrow, so we know it's a really tough spot going up against Cleveland, but so much more usage to go around. So like, yeah, I like Tyrese Maxey. I like Paul George. Kelly Oubre's priced up, more of a GPP play. Really like Andre Drummond. I would expect him to start, and then I would expect KJ Martin to stay in the starting lineup unless they want to go double big up against Mobley and Jared Allen. Could be like Yabusele, Drummond. Just keep an eye on that. But like, yeah, they're going to need Drummond out there. Really like Drummond. Really like Maxey. Really like Paul George. I don't think they're like priorities to me, but they're still fine plays. I suspect they'll be somewhat low owned tomorrow just because the matchup. I don't think they're going to project like amazing with Joel Embiid out. So like them in GPPs. Not really interested in the value here. It's mainly just top two guys. Drummond. I think Kelly Oubre is a fine large field play, but definitely priced right. Moving on to Cleveland, better spot here with no Joel Embiid. So like, not loving much if everyone's healthy. I mean, we could get guys resting. I don't know why Joel Embiid played tonight to just sit tomorrow. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So let me just make sure I didn't miss anything last time I refreshed this Devin Booker out. Yeah, we got it all. So yeah, I mean, I think everyone's just fine. Like we're gonna have better value than LeVert. Jared Allen with no Embiid gets a bump. I think fine. Darius Garland at 7K. Played him tonight. Like the spot more. Evan Mobley at 7.5. Probably my favorite play. I think the bigs are my favorite plays, and then some interest in Donovan Mitchell, but nothing amazing here on Cleveland. Moving on to New York, great spot here. I love Cat tomorrow. I mean, he should be able to feast in this spot. Just playing big minutes. He's playing in blowouts. I mean, look, just rebounding monster. Going to get you a double-double. He's leading this team in scoring. I believe Mikel's leading the team in scoring since December 1st, which is wild. He's been on a tear. But yeah, I love Cat tomorrow. I think Brunson's too cheap at 8.2K, so I'm really high on both Cat, Brunson. Even like the secondary guys here I think are solid plays, like Mikel, OG, Josh Hart, I think are fine. So like, I think the Knicks look pretty damn good tomorrow. Moving on to the Pelicans. Really tough matchup here. Yeah, I think if I were playing anyone, I think it would be DeJounte Murray. I think Herb Jones is priced right. Missy's priced right. It's a fine spot for Missy, not as horrible as people would think. Trey Murphy at 6.5 has a massive ceiling, but going to play big minutes, but not too excited about too much here. I guess DeJounte Murray, Trey Murphy would be my favorite plays on the Pelicans for tomorrow. All right, last 5 games here, guys. Moving on to Washington. Fine spot here going up against the Bucks. They're still going to be without Kyle Kuzma, Sadiq Bey. First game back, they started Jordan Poole, Champagnie, Koulibaly, Sarr, and Bub Carrington, and you saw Malcolm Brogdon off of the bench. Great spot for the guards here. If we're going to get mid-20s minutes from Malcolm Brogdon at 5.3K, regardless if he comes off the bench, I like him quite a bit. Just good point per minute guy, going to stuff the stat sheet. It's a really good spot going up against the Bucks. They're really prone to opposing guards. Bub at 5.2 is price right. Just give me Malcolm Brogdon all day long. Really tough spot for Sarr. Has shown a ceiling of late, and the minutes are there. Starting at the 5, his rates are a lot better, so I guess it's fine. Koulibaly, no thank you. Really bad spot for him. Champagnie at 5 will probably be the other guy to consider here, but with Keyshawn George back and Kispert back, minutes are a little bit less secure. And then I like Poole's ceiling in GPPs. Just if they keep this game competitive, they're going to play Jordan Poole a ton of minutes. And if the game does stay competitive, like if you're playing anyone on the Bucks side, I think it could be smart to play like Jordan Poole tomorrow, right? So I like Poole, definitely. Moving on to Washington, keep an eye on the Dame news. I would suspect he sits tomorrow. He's been dealing with calf injuries for like a while now, so I would suspect that he sits. Like, if he sits, we know what to do. Jam Giannis. Bobby Portis gets a bump. He would be a good point per dollar play. Middleton would be firmly in play. AJ Green started the game tonight, but they went with DeLon Wright in the second half. Played 17. I swore he was a DNP in the first half. Played 17 seconds. Got the blowout, of course. Forgot about that. I don't know if we get like DeLon starting at 3.6K, I'd really like him for value. And then yeah, with like Middleton, with like Bobby Portis a ton. Still would have interest in like Brook Lopez in GPPs, and then Giannis would just be a smash. And then if we get Dame in, no limit. I really like Dame and I really like Giannis. So maybe just be the top two guys here for me. I'm going to cross off the Warriors. I can't play any Warriors. I just cannot do it. Going up against Minnesota, Dennis Schroeder on this team, they have more bodies. I just cannot play any Warriors. So I will be passing. That is my breakdown. I am sorry. Moving on to Minnesota. I like Rudy Gobert quite a bit. You guys always know I like Rudy Gobert every single slate, but it's just the minutes. Good spot going up against the Warriors too. Probably going to get you a double-double. So yeah, my only concern, I guess, could go small. But yeah, like some value here. Like Mike Conley, she'll play around 30 minutes. I think he's fine value. We're definitely going to have better value opening up. He'll be unowned tomorrow. It's fine. Naz Reid, like his ceiling in GPPs. And then like Ant, Randall, meh. Moving on to the Clippers, they are getting healthier as well. So like I'm not going to play Kevin Porter Jr. I'm not going to play Dunn. Not going to play any of this value. It's mainly just Powell, Zubac, Harden. That I like. I like Zubac. He should be able to abuse in this matchup. 7K, it's still too cheap, man. They're not going to, they don't adjust his price point. I don't understand it. Another low him, I assume he'll be low in tomorrow. That I think is good. James Harden's a fine spend up. Moving on to Dallas. No Luka, so yeah, Kyrie looks phenomenal. PJ Washington, a good play as well. Derek Lively, I just bit my tooth. Derek Lively, his rates actually go down with Luka Doncic off of the court, so less interested there. Klay Thompson gets a bump, fine. I think I preferred him when both were out, but still fine. And then, Quentin Grimes is solid value, and then Spencer Dinwiddie. I prefer Spencer to Quentin Grimes by a mile. All right, Portland. Going up against the Spurs, Ayton. I mean, he was just owning Jokic out there. This is the ceiling he has. I think he's a good GPP center play on this slate. Just a massive ceiling, and they're running a really tight rotation. Let me show you this rotation that they ran. If we're gonna get this type of rotation with no Delano Banton, I think you have to consider these guys. So if Banton's out, I mean, I like Scoot Henderson a lot for value if Banton's out. And I don't think anyone's really going to play him tomorrow. Kamara played big minutes, but he's priced right. Denny at 5.5 off the bench, you can't do. But like these main guys, Simons at 6.6, I like quite a bit. Shaedon Sharpe I like in GPPs. Grant's in play. And then yes, I'm interested in Aiden. Moving on to the Spurs. Yeah, Wemby, one of the better spend ups on the board. Devin Vassell, I absolutely love tomorrow. I told you guys I was a million times that I was hammering. He's going to end up in the starting lineup in the next few games. It finally happened. I love Devin Vassell tomorrow. I think he's a phenomenal play. Then it just hurts everyone else. We have Keldon back as well. So, like, it's mainly just, like, Vassell I like. Chris Paul I think is fine. Sochan, meh. And, like, Wemby. Moving on to Detroit, solely depends on Jaden Ivey news. If he is out, Malik Beasley came off the bench, would still be in play. Also would be in play. Wouldn't be great plays, but still in play. And then, yeah, Cade, I think is great. During, I don't know what to say about this guy. I really don't. Just so confusing to me. All right, let's move on to Phoenix. No Booker. So, yeah, Kevin Durant looks great. Love Kevin Durant in this spot. Phenomenal play. I absolutely love Kevin Durant tomorrow. Bradley Beal's decent, too. Yusuf Nurkic at 6.2K does seem a tad bit too cheap. A lot of good center plays in the slate. Tyus Jones gets a bump. And, yeah, I like Royce O'Neal for value at 5.3K. Good point per minute guy. You should see the biggest bump here. All right, that's going to do it for the massive slate. Hopefully you guys had a fantastic night. I will be on Reddit, and I will talk to you guys later.